Okay, here we go. All right, we are headed to the Capitol today. It's January 6th. My name is Eric McCoy, and let us walk that mile in their shoes. But actually, it's about 2 miles that we are about to walk from the ellipse to the Capitol. Is that right?
Yep. It sounds like it's going to be a fun walk, so I'm ready to go with you. I'm Lona Curry. I'm your transgender mentor, and as always, I am so grateful to be here with my good friend and co-host, Eric High Wild Clean McCoy. And yeah, man, I've been waiting to get to the Capitol. This has been a tough wait. Yeah, I've been waiting to get here.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping this is going to play out good, because the problem, obviously, the question that really comes up is, who were they?
Yeah.
Right. And, we've got tons of footage. Obviously, we don't know everybody. There's various different speculations that, we had an FBI agent that was involved. But again, Lona, we are about to go to the Capitol, and to get us pumped, as we need to do, here is going to be a quick message from our sponsor, or if you've ever researched it, John Barron or John Miller, which was a very weird story. Maybe Carolyn Callego, if you heard that one. David Dennison, or the guy who nicknames everybody, such as Lion Ted, obviously Ted Cruz, dumb as a rock, Rex Tillerson, right, who worked for Trump. You got truly weird Senator Rand Paul. Disaster from Alaska, broken old crow for Mitch McConnell, crying Adam, right, for Adam Kinzinger, 1 for 44 for John Kasich, the Flake, right, for Jeff Flake.
Love it.
Wacky Bill for Bill Cassidy. Sleepy Ben Carson, low energy Jeb for Jeb Bush, or Dumbo as his former director of the United States Secret Service. And the funny thing about that is those were all people on his side. They were allies, or people you think that were working together. But I'm going to speculate they probably disagreed with him on something.
I would imagine. Nature just a little bit too.
Yeah. I want to say though, real quick, our sponsor that I'm talking about, he does advocate, and he comes up with really cool names, very respectful things like Rocket Man, who's the leader of the Democratic Party, Kim Jong-un. Well, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. And, I could probably go on, but I'm not going to. And so to get us pumped, here he is.
We're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Wait a minute, what the fuck is Trump doing? Hey, Trump! Where the fuck is he going? He said, wait a minute, he said he was going to the Capitol with us. Why the fuck is he getting in his car and he's driving away? Oh, well. I doubt anybody probably heard him or understood that he was planning to go, but I don't think anybody really listens to any word he says. But all right, man, let's get to the Capitol.
There he goes.
He's off running. What the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? He's supposed to be going with us to the Capitol.
And I'm going with you.
Yeah.
I'm going with you. Just I'll be in the big black Benz.
Now, what happens next didn't actually seem to be too confusing, since we have absolutely amazing footage of what happens.
Great footage.
But it's going to be told in so many different ways.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Why? Because it can be sold easily.
That's right.
To the people who Trump liked the most. And again, I want to give everybody a reminder of who those people are that Trump likes the most. Check this out.
With poorly educated, I love the poorly educated.
Hey,
I love the poorly educated.
absolutely. He definitely is the fan of the poorly educated.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Oh man. All right.
Oh, it's great.
Okay. So now luckily, right, we had a president at the time who condemned what was about to happen.
Mm.
And this video gives a glimpse what is about to transpire
To go
and
down.
Trump's response. What you're about to see is the riot that was taking place on January 6th. And now we're going to hear Trump's response to that.
Our nation has been gripped by professional anarchists, violent mobs, arsonists, looters, criminals, rioters. The following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now. I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
I'm sorry, that wasn't actually Trump's response to January 6th. Sorry, that was actually the Black Lives Matter video that I wanted to actually show you, because his response to that was a little bit different than what we saw on January 6th. Obviously, as he encouraged the January 6th situation, and he needed to shut down.
Justice! Why do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Why do we want it? Now!
America is founded upon the rule of law. It is the foundation of our prosperity, our freedom, and our very way of life. But where there is no law, there is no opportunity. Where there is no justice, there is no liberty. Where there is no safety, there is no future. We must never give in to anger or hatred. If malice or violence reigns, then none of us is free. I take these actions today with firm resolve and with a true and passionate love for our country. By far, our greatest days lie ahead.
About 20 minutes before a mandatory curfew started Monday night, federal officers and National Guard troops outside the White House suddenly moved on peaceful protesters, hitting them with flash grenades and tear gas while shooting rubber bullets.
I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
And he needed to shut down the Black Lives Matter so he could get a photo op.
Say Bible.
That's right. With a Bible. Our Christian president. Our Christian president. Oh, Jesus. That was insane. I mean, yeah, that was crazy.
That was such an amazing contrasted video that has been shown and made there, because what we all knew, and I think that this actually has just driven home the entire premise of the Black Lives Matter movement, is that there's not a single soul on earth, in America, that cannot watch the contrast of those two things happening, that know the moment that those thousands of white people stormed that Capitol, that it would have been completely different had it
Absolutely.
been any other color protesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Or even, let's just say we had a thousand of a pride movement trying to storm the Capitol for their rights.
Yep.
Might have gone the same doggone way, but
Yep.
There's nobody on this in this country that can stand by and say, or turn a blind eye to the racism of this country, the differences in what, is there's no equality And that's what we know. And January 6th served to prove that to every doubter that's kept their head in the sand for however long.
Well, think about it. I mean, how long was it till the National Guard went there?
Exactly. And did the National Guard ever actually show up? Because I remember only seeing DC SWAT. So I think it was like at the end if they did.
I think they did, but I think it was way, because, you know, the stories are is that he was at the White House watching this on the news, you know, with a hard on or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. When he finally said, y'all go home, I think that he was, you know, had just blown it all and he was through. He was spent.
Well, you know, and the guy, he was supposed to be with us.
Yeah,
he wasn't there.
I'll be with you. Yeah. I'll be with you. Yeah, he made a lot of promises like that.
Yeah.
He made a lot of promises like that.
Yeah, so the question is, what was January 6th? Was it a normal thing? Was it an insurrection? A riot? Was it a support for Mike Pence? Was it a peaceful march? Right? And so I want to get some information from our trusted servants. Who are those? They're the people we vote in.
That's right.
They're the ones watching out for us. They're the ones looking out for our best interest. And I want to start with Matt Gaetz, who is an American lawyer and a politician, right? He served as the U.S. representative for Florida's first congressional district since 2017. And he is obviously a Republican also. He became one of the foremost congressional allies of our President Donald J. Trump, our sponsor. So I want to show you a quick video. And here is Matt Gaetz.
President Trump explicitly called for demonstrations and protests to be peaceful. He was far more, you can moan and groan, but he was far more explicit about his calls for peace than some of the BLM and left-wing rioters were this summer when we saw violence sweep across this nation. Now, we came here, not since 1985 has a Republican president been sworn in, absent some Democrat effort, to object to the electors. But when we do it, it is the new violation of all norms. And when those things are said, people get angry. And I don't know if the reports are true, but the Washington Times has just reported some pretty compelling evidence from a facial recognition company showing that some of the people who breached the Capitol today were not Trump supporters. They were masquerading as Trump supporters and, in fact, were members of the violent terrorist group Antifa.
Yes, and there we go.
There we go.
Here we go. Antifa. That is
There's all Antifa.
Yeah, they were sprinkled throughout the crowd. Right? Now, this guy brings up a very interesting, again, I've always loved studying like logical fallacies. And so can we say logical fallacies? And yes, we can. And this is a form of fallacy that I think appears to be the greatest that we see today, especially in Congress and within politicians. And I believe probably the first one taught in law school. It's got to be the first rule. And just for fun and just for reference, the guy who has been investigated for sex with multiple women, including a minor who was 17 at the time, good old Matt Gaetz. And as of a couple of months ago, from the research I have done, the Justice Department has added 2 top prosecutors from Washington to the child sex trafficking investigation of Matt Gaetz. Now again, I'm not saying that he did this, okay? Because again, I'm not, the jury and, but it would be ironic, okay, since it is the Democrats that are involved in sex trafficking. Follow me on this, right? So I believe that if he is found guilty, he has to have been a Democrat masquerading as a Republican, sprinkled throughout.
Sprinkled.
Yeah, he's masquerading. As a Republican, he's a
That's
Democrat.
right.
So so again, if he is found guilty, he's got to be.
He's got to be. And maybe that's why his arguments and statements were just so ridiculous, because, you know, he's got to make it look good. He's got to make himself look the part. So
he does. And
there's a lot of questions.
Yeah. And so when you go back to the logical fallacies, I think it probably fits in with the ad hominem argument, also the personal attack, or what they also call poisoning the well. And it's, you know, the fallacy of attempting to refute an argument by attacking the opposition's intelligence, morals, education, professional qualifications, personal character, or reputation, using a corrupted negative argument. Right.
Love it.
And so, you know, when you look at his argument, I mean, what was literally the argument he was making? You know, it wasn't us.
It wasn't us. Hey, it wasn't me. It wasn't us.
Yeah. And it was, you know, look at all the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes. Always throw it back. Always throw it back. Always.
So we have Antifa sprinkled throughout the crowd of protesters. Now, I want to bring up something. And, you know, as you know, I like to, when I hear things, I like to research in depth various things. That's why I do get stuck on so much crap. But I think it also is kind of what makes this fun. Yeah. But he mentioned the Washington Times, right? He stated, you know, that and in the Washington Times, and I researched this and I did find this, okay, that they stated that the XR Vision facial recognition software that identified Antifa members among rioters, right? They stormed the Capitol January 6th, that Wednesday. And you would think that a congressman would be more careful in spreading information that he could never have researched. I mean, think about it. This was the day of the riot.
Yeah.
And how quickly did they get the facial recognition to get posted in a magazine or a newspaper or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Right.
Think about that.
I know, because if we had that, if it was like that, which is like movie-like, then I don't understand then how the whole thing went down. You're saying that if we got that kind of talent, there should be a lot more security around this place. Yep. And maybe it shouldn't have been so easy for them to get in.
Right. So, you know, and again, on you know, there, and I believe there is a reason that he would throw something out like that, because never being researched, it fits his agenda.
Absolutely.
Right? It fits my agenda, so I'm going to say it.
I'm throwing it out there because I am grasping at everything, throwing it all.
Now, here's the ironic part about it all, is that the Washington Times came out with a correction later.
Oh.
Ironic. They all of a sudden throw this out. And so I'm going to bring you up real quick. I'm going to show you the correction.
Beautiful.
And what's funny about it is I looked on their site, okay, and they are, and I'm actually going to get into this a little bit, even a little bit further, more in depth, of who this newspaper is and who this newspaper belongs to.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And I actually found on their site, they have a thing that you can click that has corrections. There's over 100 for 2021. So what they do is they'll post stuff, right, that fits their agenda. And then, of course, because they want to be a legitimate newspaper, magazine, whatever the hell they are, we can retract it. And we say, oh, you know what? We made a mistake there. And here's the correction. But how much harm's been done?
Right. It's like a jury trial. It's like a jury trial. Yep. You throw out little things to influence your jury. And then, of course, you know, you get the judge that, you know, strike that, you know, you get all, but it's already done. It's already done.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's done. And it's very strategic.
Strategic. Absolutely. We throw it in, we get the fire.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we made a mistake.
Oh, Jackson.
That's all right, you know. And of course, all all the people that read the magazine, they don't care.
No, they don't care because that went with that belief. That's their, particular activating system grabbing up that and goes, yep, see, I was right. I was right.
Yep. Here is the correction of the Washington Times. And I had to kind of put it together to sort of make it more visible, to get it onto one screen.
Nice.
But so the newspaper claims, and if you kind of get up, you can kind of see this, but and really quick, I want to mention too, what they say they are. Okay. They say that they're the aim of the Times has been to inform American leaders on how to defend America and as a nation blessed by God, and how America can live for the sake of the world, right? And this is said by this Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon. Actually, I'm sorry, it's the wife of the widow of Reverend Moon and the current leader of the unification movement, right, that began in 1954. And so if you see on this correction thing, so it says correction, an earlier version of this story inaccurately stated that the XR Vision facial recognition software identified Antifa members among rioters that stormed the Capitol Wednesday. XR Vision did not identify any Antifa members. The Washington Times apologizes for XR Vision for the error.
Well, they made a powerful statement there. They named it as rioters and a storming of the Capitol.
They did.
Right? They named it. We've got it named.
So,
and oops, we told a lie. Now we take it back. Take back.
And it is a riot.
Yep.
But it wasn't Antifa, like we said.
Yep.
Like within 10 minutes of it happening.
Right. Like he's got his finger on the pulse of that.
Seriously. They had that all prepped and planned.
Sure.
I mean, they had to have, because now this is some funny shit, right? Is there, and again, you got to ask yourself, is there a reason they would put something out? Again, that would be dishonest, right? And then again, only to retract and make themselves look good. Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, here is a video of that strange, odd, but the guy who cares about America.
I want to thank the Universal Peace Federation, and in particular, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, a tremendous person, for her incredible work on behalf of peace all over the world. Her story of escaping from North Korea at 5 years old, at the outset of the Korean War, is an amazing example of the power of faith in Almighty God. I also want to thank her late husband, Reverend Moon, for founding the Washington Times, an organization for which I have tremendous respect and admiration.
So, tremendous respect and admiration. They obviously do things for him.
Yeah,
because he wouldn't care. He wouldn't care about them unless they had done favors of some sort for him.
Yeah. Because narcissists don't care about anybody. They're not doing for them.
No.
That's just what that is.
Yeah.
No way around it.
Now, I want to say this is even going to get weirder.
Oh.
So then we come to the question, so what is the Unification Church? As I decided to look deeper.
I'm glad you did.
Into this.
I'm glad you did.
And so I want to show you a video that'll give you a little glimpse of what this church is. Because again, Trump is a God-fearing human, is he? I don't know.
He said
he
I think the jury's still out.
He asked for forgiveness from God. No, I don't think he did. He said he never did that.
No, I think that's going too far. He is God. That might be more of what he thinks.
That is, but you should feel very, very safe in this church.
Oh, good. Good. I'm always looking for a safe church to go to.
You
Always.
absolutely should. Now, I don't know if you want to go, but I don't know if it's safe for you.
We're gathered here today to celebrate the cosmic true parents of heaven, earth, and humanity. We'll ask everyone to take out your rod of iron. Today's ceremony is a blessing marriage where couples have been asked to attend with crowns and AR-15 rifles as religious accoutrements.
The rifle symbolizes just the general arts of self-defense. For us, that's the shepherd's role. The shepherd is a defender of the sheep, is a defender of those who cannot defend themselves. And so the shepherd must be armed and the shepherd must be trained. So we kind of celebrate it as a freedom day because we see our Father as a returning Jesus. This year, we did it more in terms of just generally celebrating freedom. Generally, a Christian conservative, Second Amendment supporting. Our brothers and sisters, a lot of them came from different parts of the world. So we have people that are associated with our church at all, from different states like Tennessee, Missouri, folks from New York, New Jersey, who feel the erosion of their Second Amendment rights. I think President Trump is doing many powerful things, and we think that God is using him to create the environment for God's kingdom to come, taking on the deep state, the swamp, whatever you want to call it, the bureaucracy of the federal government.
We will no longer stay silent, and we will no longer sit around in the safety of our homes. Can I get an amen?
So did you catch all that stuff? So he was referencing that he's like the second coming of Jesus. His dad. Now his dad passed away. So Moon, the Reverend Moon, died at like 90 something years old. And so I'd done some research on this, and apparently he claimed that Jesus had appeared to him in a dream or a vision or something, told him that he hadn't lived long enough to be able to accomplish all the things that he needed to do, and that he needs to finish up what his role was. So he was basically Jesus. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if Trump prays to Moon.
Because, there's a lot of confusion in that.
Yeah. Now, I got to say, I don't think I would feel safe in that church one bit. I mean, you got these people with these guns. What the hell are we doing?
The old guy could barely pick the damn thing up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole shitload of people carrying guns. Not little guns,
No, like killers. I
don't know if that feels safe to me.
Kill. No. I think I'm gonna skip past that one. I'm gonna go to the nice, peaceful Episcopalian down the street, maybe.
Serious. We don't have to have all these guns.
I loved the interviewer because you could tell she was doing her best to hold back her expression, but sometimes.
Yeah. This gun thing is like, it's a huge fight, obviously, between the Democrats and the Republicans.
It is.
Republicans claim that Democrats want to remove your right to carry a gun, remove the Second Amendment, right?
Right.
Now, I have never heard that.
No.
Never heard that. Anybody. I mean, he always claimed that if Biden becomes president, you're going to lose your guns. Well, I mean, obviously,
fear.
These people still have their freaking guns.
They still got theirs. They definitely got theirs.
Yeah. You know what? That video, though, may have happened before Biden became president, so they may not have them.
Maybe they don't. But I'd like to see somebody take that one out of that old man's hand. He didn't look like he's giving that up easy. Or that woman. There's my little woman in my gun.
California, we have like very strict gun laws.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, I'll never be able to own a gun in California because I'm a convicted felon.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Now, I want to mention something real quick. So figures from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, right, show that there were a total of more than 38,300 deaths from guns in 2019, right? Wow. Of which more than 23,000, almost 24,000 were suicides.
Wow.
Now, Republicans, I know. Now, Republicans say they obviously defend the constitutional right to bear arms, the Second Amendment, right? They oppose, federal licensing of law-abiding gun owners, and national gun registration as a violation of the Second Amendment, an invasion of privacy of honest citizens. So you shouldn't have to register and tell everybody that you're getting a gun, right? Now, Democrats, on the other hand, say that, as they're trying to, and they're claiming we can reduce gun violence while respecting the rights of responsible gun owners. And they believe that, they should expand and strengthen the background checks, for those who want to purchase a firearm, because they say it shouldn't be easier to get a gun than a driver's license.
Well, and I can see the point in that. And of course, we look at a lot of the gun violence, does happen among people that are generally not licensed to carry firearms. But the fact is where do those firearms come from? There's
and again,
big issue, huge issue.
Like criminalizing something doesn't eliminate it. I mean, we know that. We've talked, drugs are illegal. You can go get them, anytime.
Absolutely.
But for some people, it may make it a little harder. For certain people. Now, if people are determined to get a gun, they're going to get a freaking gun, right?
They're going to get one. Get one.
I don't want to actually get into the whole argument on guns, but just curiosity. Okay. I pulled up a picture from the CDC. Now I want you to take a look at this. If you look at this chart, and unfortunately it doesn't have the full numbers on it, but the lighter the numbers, the lower mortality by firearms. Okay.
Wow.
So when you look at, the orange ones are a little less than obviously the red ones. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the lighter ones are obviously much less. Now, what I did was, and what I found sort of interesting behind this, if you look at a lot of these states that are within the red, which have the higher death rates, there's less restrictions on guns. So their whole argument of it's safe for people to carry guns, there'll be less violence if people are allowed to carry guns.
Right.
But why is there more death?
Right. Makes
Alaska, for instance, a lot of these have just, open carry. Some of them have, you can just carry concealed weapons, things like that. Now, a lot of these lighter states, especially you got Pennsylvania, you got California, New York, and some of these other, they got stricter gun laws. You can't just walk into a store and buy a gun. California has it set to where if you want to buy a gun, you have to go in, they do a background check, and it's like 2 days before you can actually get the gun.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we have one of the stricters, but some of these other states, though, especially some of these southern states, they're just open carry. You can just go in there, you can buy a gun, as long as you got the money.
And I think in our state that you can't do a pistol that way, but you can buy a rifle. So you can buy a rifle all within the same day. The pistol, on the other hand, takes you a couple days. But to me, that's, those still kill. I mean, it's not like we don't use rifles to kill, Yeah, I agree with you. That's a great.
It just doesn't. I mean, the whole thing doesn't fit with the way the Republicans always say it. That's one of their big arguments. Oh, it's safer. It provides a safer, environment because they're not going to hold up a store because they got a gun and then you probably have a gun, and so they're not going to do it.
Right.
But why is there more death then as a result of firearms in these other in those states that are safer?
Yep. Because there's not any little light shade anywhere in this area. None in our southern states. None.
Yeah. What are your laws in North Carolina?
You have to have a concealed carry license. You can conceal and you can carry as long as you have your little 1 week course and your little card. You can own assault rifles. I mean, think there's like a 3-day period for purchasing the pistol. But like I said, you can walk in and buy a rifle.
Open carry too?
Yeah.
So I can go like a total cowboy? Like guns on each side, pistols and
Absolutely.
Dude, I want to go to North Carolina just to do that. I just want to do that,
I'm a cowboy.
I'm gonna get a cowboy hat and I'll get,
Yep. Yes, we do. And you
Nice.
just assume, like where I live, you just assume that every house that you go to has there's a gun. I mean, you just assume it. You just assume it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the California's got a lot of guns, but you think about it though, and for somebody that, if they don't have a gun or they want to hold up a store, they're, it's going to take them a while to freaking get it. And they might talk themselves out of it by the time they actually get to the point to where they're going to do it, rather than I just go to the store, pick up the gun, and then I'm able to do it.
Oh, while I'm here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the background check, I don't understand why, I do want to say that I think it is a little fucked up that I can never own a gun in California because I'm a convicted felon 20 years ago. Right.
And for a nonviolent crime at that, because I'm in the same boat.
Correct. Nonviolent crime. Now, so why do I lose my Second Amendment right? Right. Because I was a drug addict?
Yeah.
But remember, in Texas, you can't get a driver's license if you've ever had a.
Well, that's right. That's right. I'm glad we knew that. But my home state is Alabama, so I'm South through and through. And the thing about Alabama is they have just made it to where if you're a felon, you can petition to get your voting rights back. So for the longest time, if you got a felony in Alabama, you weren't allowed to vote.
Ever. Ooh.
Ever.
See, that doesn't seem right.
It doesn't. So we
California.
That's
you cannot vote when you're on probation or parole in California, but once you're off, you can.
See, and you don't have to petition for your voting rights back.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like that was probably the day that I was convicted of a felony and got out of jail and checked in with my parole probation officer. I mean, those are the first two things that I was told. You're never going to get to vote again, and you're never going to be able to be around a firearm, carry a firearm, be in the household with a firearm. And I'm like, that gives me nowhere to live.
Right.
The South, everybody's got a gun. So, that doesn't set people up, to think they have paid their price and are now an equal citizen. So you get the aggravation, but it's complicated, man. But what you just showed was, again, pretty right there. It's pretty right there. It's pretty
something to think about, at least.
It is, man. It is.
So that was fun. I actually I think that church is pretty cool. You want to just go there, and they had a whole video on it too, and people are out in the back, like just shooting their freaking guns. And so we're going to go back to January 6th now. Let's return let's return to some arguments of what that day was.
That's right. Let's remember that as we go back here, that the Washington Post has already declared them rioters, and they have seized the Capitol. So
but now Georgia Representative Andrew Clyde makes an interesting argument.
Yes.
And I'm always curious why, right? As far as I could see, are allowed to flat out lie. I'm always confused on this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are they never under oath?
Yeah, I know.
I don't think they are, I guess,
I guess not.
Because remember, this was an event where people videotaped the acts that they were involved in.
Absolutely.
So here is Honest Clyde.
Honest Clyde.
This hearing is called the Capitol Insurrection. Let's be honest with the American people. It was not an insurrection, and we cannot call it that and be truthful. As one of the members who stayed in the Capitol and on the House floor, who, with other Republican colleagues, helped barricade the door until almost 3 p.m. that day from the mob who tried to enter, I can tell you the House floor was never breached, and it was not an insurrection. This is the truth. There was an undisciplined mob. There were some rioters and some who committed acts of vandalism. But let me be clear, there was no insurrection, and to call it an insurrection, in my opinion, is a bold-faced lie. Watching the TV footage of those who entered the Capitol and walked through Statuary Hall, showed people in an orderly fashion staying between the stanchions and ropes, taking videos and pictures. You know, if you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
How do you do all that with a straight face, man?
Seriously. Like a normal tourist visit. Damn.
How do you
I'm going to show you some video towards the end of this of our people that we were there on January 6th.
Peacefully touring.
And I've been there before, and I don't remember when I toured it. I don't remember that. But apparently you can. I guess we can do that stuff because that's just a normal, ordinary event.
Oh my gosh. How do they do this with a straight face? Like, how do you not feel like an asshole?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because again, you got all this video out there. It's crazy.
Yes, nobody was scared to tape the crimes they were committing. Yeah. Not one moment did somebody think, maybe we shouldn't tape this. Maybe I shouldn't light this joint here in the Capitol.
Now, he said that they never breached the Capitol floor, right? Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional, or maybe I'm not seeing what I think that I'm seeing. You know, sometimes, I say it all the time. We don't describe the world we see the world we describe.
That's very true.
Maybe I'm describing this wrong.
Me too.
But I want to show you a video real quick, and I need your help.
Okay.
In telling me what you see.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Is this the city? We are war, okay? You have to understand it's an IO war. We can't lose the IO war. We're better than that. Okay? Information operation.
There's got to be something in here we can fucking use against these scumbags. Who's a good one? Him and Lawler or whatever.
I think Cruz would want us to do this. So
yeah, absolutely. I think we're good.
I'm the guy that's going to find the truth.
That was our horn dude. That was the guy that was at the airplane in
That's right. Afghanistan.
Yeah, he was in Afghanistan. Now, am I delusional? What is the Senate floor?
I think that was it. That looked like it was it to me.
I mean, that's where they're all sitting. That's where they all were left from. That's right. All their paperwork that they're freaking going through their shit.
Right. There's got to be something in here.
But apparently that's not the Senate floor, I guess.
I guess there's two. Who knows?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I guess that one was okay to go into. That was one that was where Pence was. So we got to hang that motherfucker.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Absolutely.
We don't care about him.
No.
But that's like, to me, it's crazy. I mean, that dude just flat out lied as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely lied. Just bold, no integrity whatsoever involved.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't even try to manipulate it.
No.
Like he didn't try to like give at least like what Black Lives Matter.
Right. Or even give like a nice little meaning to it, Well, we only did that because.
Right.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, he just flat out freaking lied. Didn't even give an attempt.
Nope.
That's fuck. Okay, so
idiot.
So it's just a normal tour visit.
That's right. Taking pictures, walking orderly.
Yep.
Within the barricades, the bars.
Yep. Antifa. So we've got Antifa.
Yep. Sprinkled through.
Sprinkled through.
That's my favorite.
Now we got to go back to one of my favorite newscasters, Tucker Carlson, because we got to bring Tucker in this mix.
Tucker's got to be our other sponsor.
Yeah, because he brings a new conspiracy into this.
Oh, good.
And so here is Mr. Newscaster Carlson.
But strangely, some of the key people who participated on January 6th have not been charged. The government knows who they are, but the government has not charged them. Why is that? You know why. They were almost certainly working for the FBI. So FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. It is not your fault. It is their fault.
Your fault. It's their fault. You gotta love this. Like, they totally put the blame on everybody else, you know?
Yep.
Everybody else.
Just like a bunch of little addicts, little narcissistic addicts. It's their fault. It's their fault. We are not responsible for how we behave because they made us do it.
Yeah. I mean,
now we've got it attackers. Now we've got it being called an attack on the Capitol. So there's rioters, storming, and attack. 3 words.
And yeah. You know, it's like what the government is, you know? Think about how long Trump was president blaming Obama for everything.
Oh yeah.
You know,
oh my God.
I mean, even if he won another 4 years, he'd be in his 8th year blaming Obama for
Still
something.
blaming.
You know,
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
like, dude, everything bad, Obama, everything good, me.
Me.
I mean, literally, you know, I mean, because again, you look in the minds of Trump and, you know, he never made a mistake. He's never done anything wrong.
Never.
Whoever could that be?
No, I'm telling
Nobody.
you. Nobody. He never has owned up to anything. I would bet he's never owned up to shit in his life.
No.
Ever.
No.
Presidency is no different than his everyday life. He's never owned up to anything.
It's everybody else's fault. That's kind of a shitty way to, honestly, to tell you the truth, that's a really shitty way to live because it's a weak way to live.
It's very weak.
And you also have no control, right?
Absolutely.
Because once I'm always blaming, I got all the alibis, right? I have no control.
None whatsoever. That is everything outside of me is controlling my entire life. I'm just here as the pawn that's being played. And for someone who's so power hungry and so heavily educated, highly educated, how do you not know that? Like what it's recovery 101, man. Recovery 101.
I mean, I respect people more that go, look, you know what? I fucked up. You know,
absolutely.
Look, man, you know what? I made a mistake here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do, you know, and that, I think that's part of one of the reasons I had a real difficult time with Trump.
Yes.
Because I don't really have a lot of respect for people that pretend like they're not human.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't trust that.
No.
You can't build any stability upon a person that you see has not built any stability for themselves. And to build true stability, there's got to be integrity involved.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can have all the agendas you want, but your integrity allows you to stand in your truth, regardless of what anyone else thinks your truth actually is.
Yeah.
Stand in that truth and be willing to, you know, to own it. And I didn't ever see Trump own anything. No ownership. No.
And Tucker Carlson doesn't either, I don't think, you know.
Oh God, no.
Now that video was from June 17th, okay, of this year, right? And it was just 3 days earlier, 3 days that it was written about by a conservative website, Revolver News, right? And the story in it says there's a strong possibility, and I love this, like, you know, and then, you know, somebody latches onto it and it says, this is the facts, right?
Yeah.
But even the article says there's a strong possibility, that the federal government had undercover agents or confidential informants embedded within the so-called militia groups, right? And that were seeking to obstruct the Senate certification of the 2020 election results.
Yeah.
Right. And so obviously Tucker Carlson reads this Revolver News.
Or his aide did.
Yeah.
To him.
Sees the story and goes, oh, whoa, this is good.
Whoa.
This is great. Let's do it. Let's just throw it on here, right?
That's right. That's right.
Now, one day, and it's even get funnier, right? One day before Tucker presented, right, that presentation, Matt Gaetz, calls on FBI Director Christopher Wray, right, to fully disclose the role and the involvement of FBI operatives during the January 6th Capitol riot. And again, you kind of lose faith in Gates, right?
Yep. Oh, because,
he grabs anything as soon as someone else says something that fits his agenda and goes with it. He doesn't come up with anything new himself. But he grabs latches onto something, and then he just rolls with it because it fits my agenda, right?
Absolutely.
So it was only 2 days after that conservative paper, obviously he reads, put that out. How much could he have researched any validity behind that before putting this out?
Absolutely.
Right? Now, again, I'm not saying it didn't happen per se, right?
Right.
But why do you just latch onto something like that and just throw this out, right? And so I want to show you real quick the letter that he presented. Okay, so this is the letter that he presented to Honorable Christopher Wray from the FBI. As the events of January 6, 2021 come to clearer relief, many questions remain unanswered. I have no idea if that's a good sentence.
I know.
But on June 8, 2021, the Senate Homeland Security Committee and the Senate Rules Committee jointly produced a 95-page report finding problems ranging from federal intelligence agencies. Now, if you go down to number 3, all the unindicted co-conspirators references in the charging documents of those indicted for crimes on January 6, how many worked as confidential informant or as an undercover operative for the federal government, FBI, Army counterintelligence, etc. I expect an answer from your office by August 1st, 2021. Right?
He wrote this letter, and this gave him enough to say it's all true. Because I've written this letter, so it must be true.
Well, it's gotta be.
It's gotta be true.
It's gotta be true. Yeah. Now,
gotta be.
It says in there, and again, I've done some research, and I've heard people talk a little bit about this before, right? That it says unindicted co-conspirators, okay, which relies on an assumption that anyone identified as an unindicted co-conspirator in charging documents is a government agent. Now, legal experts say that term cannot be used to describe FBI agents or undercover government operatives. And so charging documents and other evidence indicate that the January 6th rioters included Trump supporters, conspiracy theorists, and members of the far right groups. Right? The term unindicted co-conspirator refers to it basically people who allegedly took part in the same offense in some fashion, but are not criminally charged, for parole, which there has been, obviously, people are asking. Revolver News, if you want to get this, is run by former Trump speechwriter Darren Beattie, who was fired in 2018 for his appearance at a conference featuring white nationalists. Now, it's unclear who actually wrote that article on June 14th because it doesn't have an author's name.
Of course. Of course it doesn't.
Now, Ira Robbins. So there's Ira Robbins is an American university law professor. And so she said that prosecutors would not name FBI agents as unindicted co-conspirators. Robbins also said that while it is possible FBI agents were acting undercover in extremist organizations involved in the Capitol riot, which they could.
Let's hope they were.
But that would not necessarily mean they had instigated the insurrection.
And if we really got technical, and I'm sure there's a way to find out, there were warnings about some possible situations happening that day, but we didn't take those into consideration. We didn't put more security. We didn't do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe those guys were in there and maybe they did give the information. Like you said, doesn't mean they were involved in the riot or the insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that maybe there were plenty of warnings. There were plenty of warnings.
Right.
There have been warnings.
Yep. So now we've kind of got the different arguments, right? So either, it could be the Proud Boys, it could be Antifa,
yep.
It could be the FBI,
yep,
operatives, could be a bunch of black people. Oh no, it's not. It could be that.
No. Can't be BLM.
I think I saw the video. I'm going to show you a little bit of the riot, and we'll see if we can kind of take a look at and see if any of them look like they would be members of minority groups.
Sounds fun.
Or Antifa, maybe FBI. See if you can point them out. See if you can pick them out.
Okay.
In fact, tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested. Well, let's not say it. We need to go. I'll say it. All right. We need to go in to the Capitol. Let's go.
This is what we came for, yeah! Back up! Whose house is it? Do you want your house back? Take it! America's shooting on the other side! Let's go, street guys!
Yeah, the Patriots are coming back, yo. Hopefully y'all will be on our side when that happens.
Amazing.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say, but one thing I do know is that the had a lot of people that were charged with it, and they themselves claimed that they were not Antifa. There were actually people that were pissed off that were like being charged, and you got the news and stuff saying, "No, they're Antifa, they're this or that," and they got pissed off and came out. Well, we're not fucking Antifa,
And what was so crazy is right there in that scene where they're saying he's got a gun, and they let the smallest lady, a veteran, go through that window. She gets shot, and as soon as it happens, they shot her.
Yeah,
they shot her. I'm like, what do you mean to blame? They shot her. You might as well you shot her.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, because they'll only use that. They'll only use that in that example. Now, if it's like a black person at a Black Lives Matter that gets shot by the cops, then it was that dude's fault.
I know. Like he got shot himself. He made it happen himself. It's his fault.
I mean, think about this too. Like you're also talking about a difference here. The comparing Black Lives Matter to burning like stores down to Congress.
Right.
That was incited by our president.
Right.
I mean, there's to me, there seems to be a little bit of a difference here. The way I can see it,
slightly noticeable.
But agendas really like make people stupid.
I'm serious, man. I am serious. It's the scariest thing that instead of growing more human-like, we have people fighting to be wrapped in even more hatred. You know, we've been very open this season about this season. Basically, we're walking a mile in the shoes of hate, and this is no different. There was so much hate and rage.
Oh yeah,
people wanted to be their best and meanest racist selves.
Oh yeah,
they want to stand up and represent these very right wing, you know, very white power groups that they're in. We talk about, you know, Proud Boys. I mean, they wanted to have this moment to be out loud with their shit. How dare you stifle me and my feelings about all this? And
I will ram you with my fucking horns.
you better believe it. Better believe it.
And then I'm going to go to Afghanistan and get posed with a fake plane. It was like a fake plane. The guy was saying, you know, it was like, what, you know what I mean?
A balloon.
A balloon plane. Yeah.
A balloon plane.
It's like, what the fuck? You know?
No. Yeah, I don't get it. Are you wrapped in that much hate that you just can't see another human being as a human being?
Yeah.
You know, like forever, I will always say, how the aliens didn't drop them off. You know, like, how do you? I don't get it. You cannot see past this one thing you see about somebody, these beliefs that you have, no matter how outrageous you look, because there will be people defending that day.
Well, yeah, the election was stolen, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, we can storm the Capitol as a militia, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's our right, you know, because the government is, you know, taking us over.
Yep.
Whatever that was, you know? Right. But the problem, again, goes back to the fact that you got to get proof of this stuff before you really do that. I mean, you know, there's still to this day not definitive proof of anything. Nothing.
Right. And an agenda newspaper is not proof.
No.
An agenda newspaper that gives you the information that fits its agenda is not proof.
Yeah, within like an hour of it happening.
Right.
All of a sudden we got like facial recognition of, you know, and it's all these Antifa. Dude, really? Like within, you know, and it's in the paper in Matt Gaetz' possession, you know, when they return to Congress.
He's so close to that, you know, he's got his finger on the pulse of that.
Oh, dude, you got a call from him, you know? He's like, hey, we're putting this shit in the paper. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Spit it, man. Spit that truth.
So I want to end this with one of the weirdest freaking senators that I think we have, Marjorie Greene. And she brings something interesting, but not too far off from, you know, the Republican argument of things. But I kind of found this a little funny. And so, you know, in a nutshell, obviously, it's pretty much been proven that it was Trump supporters, you know, that, you know, I think they're still looking into the possibility of FBI agents and things like that. But again, it doesn't mean they incited it, even if they were a part of infiltrating some of these, which is not illegal for them to do.
Absolutely not. How else would we know where they are? How dangerous.
Yeah. And so we pretty much identified who the patriots, right? The patriots are, you know, that are with the greatest president of all time, Donald Trump.
Donald J.
Mr. D. And so I wanted to end this with this, and I wanted to show this because Marjorie Greene is really a weird fucking lady too. She sits on a lot of the conspiracy theory stuff. She's been kicked off, I think, a couple of the, you know, panels, whatever they're, you know, type stuff, because She's just too weird, even for Republicans. Right?
That's sad.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the commission to study the events of January 6th, as well as spending $2 billion in security supplemental. The question that comes to mind is this: what about all the riots that happened during the summer of 2020 after the death of George Floyd? What about all the damage caused to federal buildings, churches, people's businesses, and innocent people that were killed, like David Dorn?
God, white people, stop.
Well, her argument says one thing: we were involved. Think about it, okay? They want to put a committee together to investigate the things that went through January 6th. Why would you be opposed to that?
Yeah.
Unless you were involved in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? I mean, there's no other reason that anybody would be opposed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
makes perfect
sense. Go,
sense.
hey, Lona, I want you to do a drug test, right? And you're like, well, I want to oppose the drug test because I know somebody last week who had, you know,
he smoked, and
yeah, and because of that, I don't want to test.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, think about how crazy that is. I mean, that's literally what you're saying. As far as I'm concerned, that's literally what you're saying.
I like that. That's a very valid point. And then it also just brings you to that cringe, as another Caucasian person, when I see and hear a Caucasian woman say something like, well, they got to do it, so we should get to do it. Because marginally, they've done it more than we have, which is absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's people out there doing drugs, so I should be able to do it.
I should be able to do it.
Or here's another good argument: we should be able to go burn down a building, and then we can say, you know what, January 6th, they were able to do that riot.
Yep.
So don't investigate me.
That's right.
Shouldn't even look at me.
That's exactly right.
that gave us the go ahead right there.
That's right.
I think it did. I mean, literally, that's the greatest argument of all, is that, well, this was happening, so this is okay because that happened. So now I can say, well, this is okay because that happened. I mean, how far are you going to go? How far can you go with that?
Oh my gosh. And they stand up and they say this stuff with the straightest face.
Yeah.
Like they believe this shit, man.
Yeah.
Believe it. It's believed.
Yeah. She brought up the name of somebody, David Dorn. Right? David Dorn was lost his life, and that's kind of what she had brought up. He was St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. He was a retired police captain who was shot during looting in St. Louis. He was 77 years old, killed while responding to an alarm at a pawn shop overnight. And I wanted to give you something real quick that I thought was funny. President Donald Trump, okay? He also paid tribute to Dorn on Twitter, saying, "Our highest respect to the family of David Dorn, a great police captain from St. Louis who was viciously shot and killed by despicable looters last night. We honor our police officers perhaps more than ever before. Thank you." Now, question is, what did they think about the police on January 6th?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were actually highly disrespected by even the congressmen, senators, even the police, even our good old President Donald Trump, who's it? But think about that, right? Think about how fucking crazy that is.
I mean, they tried to beat them. They tried to hurt them. They tried to kill them.
Well, they did. Yeah. But what was even more interesting, though, was after the fact and the way Congress treated them. I mean, they went in there and they spoke at hearings in Congress with the Republican side harassing them, talking horrible shit, disrespect,
Back to blue.
So they do, unless it doesn't fit their agenda.
Right.
Once
people used to think they have.
Yeah, we completely support the cops, unless
only if
it goes against what we're trying to do, which is we don't know what we're trying to do, but we're trying to do something.
But we're here to do it, whatever it is.
And that's why I was saying, it's so the Democrats are boring.
I know you cannot get this kind of content.
No, there's no way. I mean, you got people like Gates, of course. Tucker Carlson is the freaking is classic.
Oh yeah,
we could have probably thrown Ted Cruz in here somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
but Trump. I mean, you got it's so
good.
It's almost like you can't even write this shit.
I know. I know. I know. This is viral shit here. This is like shit that has to go viral. It's just too good.
Yeah. I mean, Marjorie Greene, is another. I mean, just like her conspiracy. I mean, she was fully on board with the fraud. She was the one who said that that the California fires were from Jewish satellites. Yeah, Jewish satellites. What the fuck?
Oh my god!
Now, was she? You think she's anti-Semitic? Crazy.
Oh gosh, it is too much, man. It's too much.
Yeah.
So what a way to close out our year of 2021. God knows. Looks like we've got about 2 more years here to, get prepared for the 2024 race.
Yeah.
Oh, I am scared to know what's going to happen through this one. God forbid he doesn't get reelected, which I doubt. But if he doesn't, oh gosh, what's going to happen then?
Well, exactly, because because again, it will be stolen again.
Oh, of course.
If he doesn't win, it's stolen.
Yes.
That whole game's already in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That groundwork's been laid.
Yeah. It's and all those people, they'll be back.
Oh yeah.
Not all of them. There may be some of them that. Because there actually has been some of them that actually have come out and said that Trump encouraged them to do it.
Yeah.
And they even pulled back a little bit and felt manipulated.
Yes.
And
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank God. Like some people woke up a little.
Right.
Because again, as I've said before, it's like I'm not arguing whether the election was stolen or not. Right?
Yep.
But you don't have any proof that it was, and that's like for me, all I can go off of is what I have.
Yeah.
Not what you tell me.
Right.
Not what a right-winged freaking, newspaper column or Matt Gaetz says or Trump says.
Right. Just because it which is, my little, my own little belief. You can't just say something that, sounds good to you and say, oh, yep, that's it. That's the truth. That's all the truth I need.
Yeah.
I mean, that's herd mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you, at some point, don't you want to think for yourself? Don't you want to break out of the herd?
Yeah, you'd think.
You don't even realize who you are and what you have to offer the world or anyone. If you can't break away from the herd, you're only who they tell you to be.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, wake up from the matrix, man.
Well, but fear is what it is,
It's all fear.
But the thing that really gets me too, it's like, I remember, Trump, if Biden wins, you're not going to be able to eat meat. You're not going to be able to fly in planes. You're not going to be able. I think people are still flying in planes, you know. I had a burger the other day.
Right? I mean, the only thing that's going to cause you to cut down on meat is the damn price of meat. So, you know, come on.
Yeah.
It's always, what do they come at you with? What's your most easily manipulated emotion? Fear. Fear for your children, fear for your freedom. But how do you call what you have in this moment free? How do you really call it free? The only thing that helps you, the only true piece of freedom that we own is right between right here, man. Our brain holds the only true freedom we have.
Well, and even that whole, like, I've said this before, but, like with Trump and if anybody out there really truly believes that Trump cares about the freaking border wall, you're a fool, I mean, he was in office 2 years and never even said anything about it.
Right.
And the only reason he did was because Tucker Carlson or one of them said on Fox News, Trump was supposed to do this and he didn't do that. And then all of a sudden Trump's like, oh, whoa, yeah, no, let's build the wall. Right. We're going to build this wall. Border security, Well, he's probably got tons of illegals working for him.
I was just going to say, he had to get his swimming pool put in and his landscaping done before he could really.
Well, that was the funny thing too. It's like all the, he's probably changed it now just because of this, but forever, Trump merchandise, everything you buy, it was all from China.
Everything.
From China. But he's like all about everything needs to be made here. We don't want it, dude, your shit was made in China. If you got your stuff from Trump, like in the past, he may have changed now just because of the necessity, but
he probably just changed the tag.
Yeah. You think Trump gives a fuck about abortions?
Come on.
He actually used to had no issue with it,
Yes.
Until he decided to run for president. Then all of a sudden, anti-abortion.
Those with the most money to donate to my campaign, that's what they thought about. Or that's what they felt.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Yep. And a Bible. I have a Bible.
Here's one. I found it. It.
What's your favorite verse? Well, I don't like to talk about personal things. That's, that's my
God.
He's like, I like something about the, eye for an eye,
Yeah. I like it when God burned down the village. That's my favorite.
Eye for an eye.
It's
I'd love to hear. I'd love to ask him to go. So tell me something Jesus said.
Yeah.
He'd have no idea, probably.
No, absolutely not.
If somebody hits you on the right side, turn and let them hit you on the left side.
That's right. He'd say, take both of those punches. Knock him out, lock him up.
Yeah. Lock him up. If I can shoot him and I won't lose a single supporter. That's pretty biblical. That's pretty godly there.
That is.
It's pretty Christian.
It is. It is. Modern day Christianity, he's got it down. Because let us not forget for all of you out there, it was the mobs that killed Jesus. It was the religious and the politicians that killed your Jesus. The same Jesus.
And the only thing that Jesus cared more about and got more angry about was greed.
That's it.
Greed.
That's it. The very thing that killed him. Didn't have anything to do with nothing else.
Well, that was the only thing that got him mad was greed. Remember? Because when they were selling in his church and the church and stuff, and he came and he started throwing it, tossing everything around, and greed. That's to me, that's an interesting idea, because what is Trump about? He's greed. He's about the greediest person I've ever, he'll even claim it.
Exactly. These are the things he'll claim. These are the things he'll stand on. And it's the most backwards that people believe they're actually on the right side of Christianity when they're standing on the side of the Pontius Pilate and the people that put Jesus to death. Because Jesus only wanted to teach you how to think and be for yourself.
And what did he say? It's something about giving everything you have?
That's right. That's right. Which we don't do that now, do we?
The Republican side is not about helping anybody.
No.
I mean, that was the other thing too. It's like, they're completely about, let's cut as many programs as possible. Like I loved the food stamp thing with Trump, right? Trump's like, oh, we've got less people on food stamps than ever. Yeah, because you took the people off it that still need it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, okay, yeah, we got, I took 120 million people off, less on food stamp. It was like, I don't know, 20 million. We'll say like 20 million people less on food stamp.
Because
they're not making any more money. They're just not having food stamps now.
Yeah, they're just not eating because they're now having to decide. Because if you are an elderly person on Social Security, you don't necessarily qualify for food stamps. So now you got to decide: do I want to have my medicine or eat today?
I mean, think about the manipulation of it all. Even the unemployment thing is such a manipulation, right? It'd be like, oh yeah, we're down to, let's even say everybody's got jobs, right? Let's say there's zero unemployment, right? And well, how many of them are getting paid minimum wage?
Right.
How many of them are not even able to afford a freaking apartment because,
Right.
I mean, that whole unemployment thing just, it's ridiculous.
It's utter manipulation, but it's counted on people to see something or take whatever he says, ingest it, and go no further. And not look at what that really means in the big picture. I don't care about politics, in all honesty, because I don't necessarily trust that everybody doesn't have agendas, but I do believe in God. Now, it's a God of my understanding, which I see is a big, huge creator that is for the people, because we are a part of that God. So how can that not be about the people? And it's like, is this not time, man, for us? Like, what else has to go on, people, for us to wake up and really begin to just stop buying the bullshit just because it's laid out on the table?
I mean, think about that guy from that church, the unification. I'm the second Jesus, or isn't that like blasphemy kind of?
I mean, it's supposed to be.
It kind of falls in line a little bit with that. And Trump's like, yeah, support this guy,
Yeah, because he's not saying that he's not saying it into the point like Jesus says that we all have the same abilities. He's saying, no, I'm the Jesus. I'm the second coming of the one to control you, for you to follow me.
Exactly. And that's what he said, because Jesus told him in a dream or in a vision that he needs to continue what he was doing. So he's basically Jesus.
Exactly.
It's
so
like,
follow me.
That's kind of blasphemous.
Yeah. It's just for sure. For sure.
I even got stuck on with Trump, with Israel saying he's like the second coming of God, and like, I think most people would be like, no, I'm not, he never argued it or disputed it. Yeah. That's the scary part about him too, is that, he says things to manipulate people, right? I found a video of him talking recently, and saying that, the most powerful, leader and all this kind of stuff. And then he said, and it's not me, it's God, right? But he says these things just because, and these are clearly things that somebody else wrote.
Yes.
You can see him, he's reading it.
Yeah.
When he looks up and he starts talking, he'll never say that. You'll never hear that come out of his mouth.
No.
These are things that have to come from somebody else's writing.
Yep.
That he just has to stick to because he needs to sound like he cares.
Because they're begging him before these speeches. They're like, okay, we got to got to tone this down.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying Biden's full of shit too. I mean, he is.
For sure.
I mean, Biden's, but there's a different type of bullshit.
There's a different tone to the bullshit. Different tone to the bullshit.
I mean, Biden's one that can say, I fucked up. I messed up. I've heard him say, things like that. Not personally, but I mean, I've seen and
Biden's also not trying to build a cultish following. I don't feel the cultish following.
Exactly.
Nothing would please Donald Trump more than for every human being to be a part of the Trump army and to have that path.
Well, you think about this like this, right? You got the Republican Party, which was just a Republican Party. Then you've got the Democratic Party. And then you got his son coming out saying it's not your party anymore. This is the Trump. I mean, literally throwing the name in the Republican Party.
Yes.
That is pretty cultish.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. That whole thing, that whole leading up to, like every speaker we saw was leading you more in this cult following. Because if you're not with us, basically you're against us.
And they said that.
He did.
And we're going to be in your backyard.
We're going to be in your, so you better make the right choice. You got the freedom to make a choice, but it better be the right one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a thread. I mean, there, you know.
Absolutely.
And this is what's sad is because the Republicans, right, I think are scared of Trump. You know,
I could see that
because he's got such a crazy following.
Yes.
And some of them need his endorsement.
Yeah.
You know, so if they don't do what he wants or does what he says, they may lose, you know. That's why I look at some of those I just think they're a bunch of pussies, some of those guys, you know, because to me, it almost like I'm going to do what's right. I'm not going to work to be right, but I'm going to do what's right.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so like, if I was to say, you know what, okay, fine. I'll freaking go back to counseling, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do.
I'm not going to sell myself for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like I'm not compromising who I am to be here.
And either that's what they do or they're just fucked up people to begin with.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're doubling down on this desperate attempt to have the herd mentality stay the herd mentality. I mean, we got to think about how much is invested in people staying part of the herd. Do you know how many things are going to fall apart? I mean, our medical community, I mean, the big pharma community. I mean, everything is going to fall apart if the herd falls apart. So we are in a drastic race to desperately hold people in part of the herd. So to the point that we will bully and make fun of each and every human being, will shame each person that comes out of the herd to make, we'll try to shame them back in. It's pretty, it's pretty plain to see.
Well, we're going to end this show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, this has been fun.
Yes, it has.
Check out Lona's show, Recovery Soul Food. He is also the transgender mentor.
That's right, baby. And make sure you get with Eric McCoy and his High Wow Clean. Looking forward to what you got coming up for that too, man. It's going to be a great season. Yep. New Recovery Soul Food kicks off next Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 Pacific. Recovery Soul Food on YouTube and Facebook with Mr. Tommy, the Alchemist Chong. Looking forward to bringing that episode to the people, man.
Very good. Yep. He was a fun guest on this show, and he was a fun guest on my show. I'm glad you were able to get him on your show. So anyways, thank you again, and then we will catch you next week.
That's right, in the year 2022.
2022. Walk a mile in my shoes. We'll see you then.
That's right. Bye, guys. Hit the buttons. Like, share, subscribe, do the things. Thank y'all.